to help you bone up on your gender knowledge. We're going to cover a ton of concepts and gender vocab words like schwa. Are you ready? Gender identity, biological sex, gender expression, cisgender, MTF, FTM, MTM, FTF, transgender versus transgendered, trans with an asterisk, transsexual, transvestite, cross-dressing, drag, dysphoria, being gender queer, gender fluid, agender, neutois, gender variant, androgynous, intersex, demigirl, and demiguy. We'll talk about the gender binary and PGPs, and we'll cover identities like third/other gender, bigender, trigender, two-spirit, non-binary, and probably much more.
Okay, so you know how there's gender fluid people and they're like, sometimes I'm a boy and sometimes I'm a girl? Well, honestly, I can't relate because, my downstairs always stays the same, so I don't really have to deal with that kind of thing. And I get really confused because all these things on Tumblr are taking over my mind and my brain, and sometimes I just want to cry because I'm really confused. Who am I? What am I? Do I have autism or something?
Stop worrying so much about what you are. Go out there in the world, accomplish and achieve, and you are going to find out who you are. You don't need to label yourself. You don't need to put on a role. If someone asks you what you are or who you are, you don't need to be a certain label. You say, I am me. You don't need to be cisgender. You don't need to be transgender, transsexual. You don't need to label yourself. This world, this society, they want to put us into roles. They want to put labels on us. And now the whole next generation to label themselves as something they are not. They are creating labels and trying to figure out what they are. They're trying to break down their body and figure out what they are due to a lack of hormone production in their body, rather than going out there and figuring out who you are. If you go out there, you accomplish, you achieve, you build skills and you build knowledge, you will figure out who you are and what you want to get out of this world. But if you spend the whole time just looking up things and trying to figure out what you are based off this, you are never going to know what you actually are, and you're never going to be happy with yourself. Once you finally change all this, you're not going to be happy with yourself because you are chasing some happiness that you were told you need to do. You were told that you are not a man. Someone on the internet or someone here told you you are not what your body is telling you to do, and you can change that. 10 years from now, you can change all this and you can change this, and you're going to be happy with yourself. Most people who finally get their sex changed, they finally go through all that work, they're more depressed than they were before. Why? Because a sudden happiness didn't just overflow and fill their bodies. All right, let's do this. What is going on, world? I am the Hungarian experiment, and today I want to discuss something a little controversial. Right now, there's a big thing going on in the world with gender identifications, where people are saying that you shouldn't be labeling a baby. If a baby is born with a penis, that you should not say it is a boy. You should allow it to identify with the gender that it belongs to. Personally, I have a bit of an issue with this. I believe that this is stemming a lot from our political correctness out here in the world, and I just don't see it as something that's 100% necessary. Now, a big reason that this is controversial, and especially controversial coming from someone like me, is because 1, I am white, and 2, I am a male. So basically anyone out there in the world who is in any kind of a minority is going to look at me and say, you don't have the right to discuss this. You don't have a right to have an opinion on this. And I think that is absolutely wrong. We are all human beings in this world. We all have different situations and different factors that we have to deal with, and we should all be able to discuss these things. You shouldn't disregard my opinion just because you are a minority. I understand people are feeling these feelings, and they feel like they don't belong, or they feel like they need to be with another group, but I believe a major factor of that, and this is something we're going to discuss in this video, is due to hormone production. I believe a lot of people out there in the world right now are questioning their sexuality. They're questioning their gender at a young age. 1, because there are so many different options and life perspectives to look at now because of the internet. 2, because we have the technology to be able to now change your gender, that this is now a possibility. And 3, that they are lacking the hormones to actually make them 100% and optimal in the actual body and gender that they were born with. So this is something I want to discuss today. I understand it's a little controversial, but this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be discussing and bringing up in conversations here on my new YouTube channel, The Hungarian Experiment Talks. So the other day I was scrolling through my Facebook feed and I stumbled upon this picture or meme here. And basically it has 3 sentences and it says, shouldn't a 16-year-old who identifies as a 21-year-old be allowed to consume alcohol? Shouldn't a 40-year-old who identifies as a 70-year-old receive Social Security benefits and the senior citizen discount at the movie theater? I mean, if we are going to identify people simply because of their feelings, doesn't anything go? Now, I agree with this, yet I don't agree with this at the same time, because although people are feeling these feelings, this generation that is growing up that is hormonally depleted, they're hormonally hindered from birth basically. Their parents could have been choosing the wrong lifestyle. They could be choosing the wrong nutrition, and now this child is born 10 to 15% less hormonally optimized than a child who actually had parents or had a lifestyle that is optimized and helping them to produce the most natural amount of hormones they possibly can. Now, if you follow along my journey, there are many different ways you can optimize your hormones. From the foods you eat, to even the times that you eat them with intermittent fasting, or even the physical exercise you do. Sitting down at a job and typing on a desk for 8 hours, compared to standing up and moving around, is gonna have a complete different output on your body and the hormones that your body produces. So this is stuff we have to be considering. If we are putting children through an education system where they are sitting down for 8 hours straight every single day, they're getting maybe half an hour to an hour of physical activity. And then on top of that, with our modern society, with all the crappy foods, now we have these things that are sending signals to our bodies and we're putting it right near our genitals. Is this the best thing to be doing? And this is the reason that I believe that so many people are lost in this world right now. So I want to discuss the comment that I left on this picture here. I'm not going to bring anyone else up from my Facebook here because it's just really not necessary. No one really responded to the comment, and I'm not really surprised either because, you know, a lot of people are saying, like, they're doing the whining thing when they're commenting on this guy's photo here, saying, worst example ever, oh, this is stupid, this is that, this is this, when no one's actually really discussing the issue at hand. So I threw out this little comment here, and I would love to know what you guys think about my opinion and my perspective on life. That is the whole point of this YouTube channel, is to stem conversation, to actually have heated, logical debate. So I want to know what you guys think about my opinion here. So let's get right into it. So the problem is that right now in our society, we are hormonally hindering the next generations with the foods we consume, the chemicals we use at our jobs, and the lack of physical activity we are doing, along with a host of other factors. Most of us are barely producing enough hormones in our bodies, and we then pass this on to the next generation. We are the lab rats right now. We are the human experiments that these corporations are testing these new products and these new lifestyle features and how to experiment with your life. We're mutating ourselves, we're mutating our minds, we're mutating our bodies, and it's like we don't even see this. We don't see how we're like lab rats, and now we're 4 to 5 generations through these lab rats, and we're being like, yo, why is this thing all mutated and fucky, like it's not working properly? It's running backwards, it's doing things completely different than it did before, 3 generations before. But we're saying, oh no, this is okay, this little being here that's completely fucked up, this is meant to be, this is how it should be. Rather than kind of analyzing and be like, okay, this human being's here, and we understand that it's here, but we need to look at it and be like, we fucked this thing up. The next generation aren't identifying with a different gender. They are so hormonally fucked up inside that their bodies aren't naturally producing them into the men and women that they're meant to be. So of course, they're going to question and ponder something different. when you're a woman growing up and you're 12 to 13 years old and you're getting right into that puberty stage, and you're producing hormones and they're telling you this and they're telling you that, and then on top of that you are like, you're supposed to be up here hormonally but you're down here, then yeah, your hormones are gonna make you question your gender. They're gonna make you think, you know, if all the other women are feeling this and acting like this, maybe it's me. Maybe it's something wrong with me. And it is something that's wrong with you. It's something wrong with your body, but it's something you can fix. It's something you can change. So I said the side effects of having hormone imbalances include depression, anxiety, the inability to concentrate, and so on. If you are a young child or teen and you're being told that this is how a man or woman feels or is supposed to feel, yet you feel completely different because of the hormone imbalance in your body, then of course they're going to identify with whatever they can out there in the world. They're going to look at someone else who's feeling this too and be like, maybe that's who I am. No, you have the ability to be so much more. You have the ability to think clearer, to feel better, to feel energetic. Like right now I'm 14 to 15 hours fasted. I've had one black coffee so far and I feel great. Why? Because I have a high hormone output going and coursing through my body and coursing through my veins. I feel good because every day I'm going to the gym, I'm pushing my body to its limits, and that is making my body produce a higher hormonal output. I'm eating the foods that is going to make me feel better, that's going to bring my energy levels up when I'm at 15 to 16 to 17 hours fasted. And then once I get to 20 to 24 hours fasted, my body has a natural 1,500 to 2,000% increase in growth hormone. So if you're going through your life and you have no consideration of your hormones, and then on top of that you're a woman and you get to the age of 12, 13, 14, and then they put you on this birth control pill that just fucks up your hormone cycle as well, you're gonna be questioning so many things about your life. And on top of that, when I was growing up as a child and a teen, when I look back now, I was doing the most and the best I could at that time. So I was still producing high hormone output, definitely not as much as I was right now. And I was questioning myself. I was questioning my gender. I was questioning my sexuality. I wasn't going out and experimenting with it, but I was saying like, you know, what if all this stuff that people are telling me is not how I actually supposed to feel? What if I don't care for a man or I don't care for a woman? But then as I grew up and I tested and I experimented, I figured out who I was. I didn't figure out who I was until I was about 17 to 20 to 22, within that range. So if you're a young child, you're 12, 13, 14, 15, you're already trying to identify, you're trying to label yourself as a completely different gender. You're putting so much mental blockage onto yourself. You're putting these like a label onto yourself and you're saying like, this is who I am, this is how I have to act, this is how I have to be. So to wrap up this comment here, I said we don't have an issue with identifying with other genders. We have an issue with hormone imbalances in our society. Honestly, in the future, I don't see how we will allow anyone over a certain body fat percentage to make major decisions for us, like CEOs, politicians, and teachers. There is clear scientific evidence that displays how having a high body fat percentage can reduce your body's hormonal output, which affects how clearly you think and how you can draw conclusions. So if in a world in the future we have people who can't even be over a certain body fat percentage because it is well known and scientifically proved that it doesn't make you think as clearly, job requirements are going to have you to be somewhat fit, to be somewhat physically active, because they're gonna know and they're gonna understand that they're gonna get more efficiency out of that human being. This is stuff we need to be considering for everybody out there in the world. Corporations shouldn't be instilling this upon us. They shouldn't be saying that you have to be at this certain level so you can have a certain IQ to be part of this job. This should be requirements from our government. We should be getting tax deductions if we can prove that we're paying to go to the gym and we actually go. That we're paying for this healthy, nutritious foods and then we actually eat it. Because here in Canada, We pay for healthcare through our taxes. So if you can prove that you are hormonally optimizing yourself, you are reducing the amount of healthcare that we need to provide in this world. You're reducing the amount of dollars we need to spend on people because they need to get their stomachs pumped or they need to get a triple bypass surgery on their heart. So this is stuff that we need to be considering out there in the world. I believe that this whole identifying with different genders, of course, don't get me wrong, there were gay people in the past. Look at developing countries. Yes, there are gay people there. There are people who are questioning their genders and their sexualities. But on top of that, you don't have this large portion of the population who is. And why? Because they have to deal with their basic animalistic instincts. They have to deal with their basic survival instincts on a day-to-day basis. They don't have the time. They don't have the decadence to sit there and ponder and go, I don't feel like I feel right with myself. They don't even have that ability. They don't have that time to do that. And on top of that, because they are being physically active, miles just to go get their water every day, or they have to walk to get their food, they have to be physically active. This is making them have a higher hormonal output. So they are not identifying with these things that they've never heard of or seen before. I believe this whole transsexual thing, it's not gonna make you happy in the end. Why? Because you're chasing this thing. You're chasing this happiness. Maybe if I become a woman, I'll be happy. Maybe if I change my gender, if I completely change everything here, and I look different every day, maybe I'll feel better about myself. You're not gonna feel better about yourself because you haven't accomplished anything. You haven't achieved anything. You changed something you thought you felt. And this is the problem that I see, is that these questions that people are asking a lot more in this society is not because of a change in this world. It's because they're so hormonally depleted that they don't even know what they feel anymore. Their body is telling them, you're a woman inside, yet your hormones are so low that you're getting mixes of testosterone, you're getting mixes of estrogen. It's making you produce facial hair when you're not supposed to produce facial hair. Or you're a man and you're starting to grow fucking boobs because you're so hormonally depleted that it's adding fat here instead of onto other areas of your body where men keep fat and store fat. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys like what you saw here. As I said in the beginning of this video, I know this was a little controversial. I know this was a little faux pas, especially with what's going on out there in the world and in this society. But if you guys like what you saw here, maybe you can resonate with it. If you agree with me, make sure you go hit that like button, leave a comment, and even share this video. We need to be questioning, we need to be pushing the boundaries of what it means to be a human being. And if we get people just saying, oh, this is stupid, oh, I don't agree with it, oh, blah, blah, this, then we're not getting out anywhere in the world. When I look at some of the comments that are being involved in this post here on Facebook, I'm seeing adults bicker at each other like children. Saying, no, you're wrong, posting up scientific evidence that they haven't even looked through. It's like children just bickering at each other, but because they have a nice platform like the internet, it seems legitimate. And it's just a waste of time for some people because they're not even doing anything of real value. They're not getting to the root of it. They're just they're covering up here when the layer of it is down here. We need to change people from the start. We need to change human beings' ideologies in life. We need human beings to have other incentives out there in the world. So they're not just chasing this almighty dollar. So they're not just going for money and profit and greed. When human beings can benefit off going to do volunteer aspects around in their community, that is going to make them think differently about how they go about and carry on their own lives and how they personally benefit themselves in their own lives. If we change how people are eating and how they're thinking and how they're structuring their physical activity from children, from the start, they're not going to be hormonally depleted when they're 17, 18, 19, and 20 years old and be questioning if they need to change their gender. Again, this is all my opinions. This is all just my personal beliefs in the world. So please let me know what you guys think and leave a comment down below. I am the Hungarian Experiment.